Okay, I have my microphone on, so hopefully that'll drown out some of the background. You're going to hear my kids earned some points, and I'm allowing them to watch a little Daniel Tiger. I'll virtue signal here for a second. We really try to keep our kids away from screens as much as possible. But it's a good reward for them, and they did a good job. So they earn their points. They get to watch a little Daniel Tiger. You'll also hear some chicken noise. I let the chickens out, and so the roosters are crowing. So if that's distracting, well, I don't know what to tell you. If you're new to my channel, oh, by the way, hi, I'm Allegra. We are a family living in the woods. We're building up like a little hobby farm. I garden, and I am, basically building up a hobby farm. And I'm an artist, so all those things that are related. And then I like to talk a lot about different things. So that's what I'm going to do today in this video. I'm going to talk about creating neural pathways in your brain and give you a couple of specific examples of experiences that I had and how important it is to start teaching and how to start learning a new skill. The way to do it is through compliments, and that might sound self-evident, but I was just watching a video from one of my favorite YouTube people. I'll put his link to his video below, Shafe. But he was talking about, he made a video talking about one of his long blabbing videos. No, it's good though. About his son's baseball coaches and him coaching, and talking about the effects that bad coaching can have on children, on anybody really starting something new, a new skill. And it got me to thinking about my experiences that I had growing up and in my life, in my adult life. So I thought I would talk about that while I'm working on this owl painting here. I've always had, well, I should say always, ever since I can remember, I've had the ability to draw. But that confirmation, that neural pathway was created, and I remember the exact moment. So my mommy used to always say, oh, you're so talented, great. But when I really knew that I could draw was in kindergarten, and we had a project, and I drew this princess, and I could see it in everybody's faces. All the kids, nobody who had any reason to BS me, they were like, their eyes got wide. They're like, wow, oh my gosh, you did that, wow. You could see it in their body, you could see it in their eyes. And I never forgot that. So I knew from that moment on that that's what I was gonna do, is I was gonna draw. And I didn't have a lot of confidence as a kid. I mean, what kid really does? So, but in that area, I knew I could do that. So that pathway was formed in my brain, and I call them neural pathways. I don't know if that's the right terminology, but I believe it is. I look at them as like rivers. A river flows, and that's pretty much where the river is going to flow, unless there's a big flood that comes through and changes the course or starts a new little tributary or something. But the way the river flows is kind of the way the river flows, and it gets created at some point. So all those little tiny tributaries are where the skills start refining and advancing as you go through life and you keep working on it. And if it's not created, it's never gonna form. And the way it's created is by compliments, is by hearing how good you are doing. And like I said, that is self-evident probably to most people, but I think we tend to forget it, because I mean, just by Shafe's video alone, there are coaches that will yell at the kids, and this is I think it's, from what he was saying, it's like a a league where kids can go on to like do bigger and better things in the sport that of choice, you know, so or baseball, let's say. But so we're not talking about just only for fun like t-ball or whatever. But I mean, if you're gonna, if a child or even an adult who wants to learn a new skill that they've never done before, you have to start them off. If you're teaching it or if you're going to be the one learning, the compliments need to be flowing, in my opinion. You can tell when it's fake, and you know, there's a time and place for hearing the actual criticism, and so I'll get into that here. But in the beginning, you just need to have that incentive. I mean, who wants to continue with something if you're told that you suck? So another example, I had the drawing, and so I had confidence in that. But another thing that I wanted to do when I was younger was to sing. I wanted to sing. And I tried out for a play in 5th grade. And the teacher who was, I guess, the acting director or whatever, he had us try out in front of everybody. So we had to sing in front of everybody. It was very intimidating. And but we did it, and I did it. And I didn't feel like I did great, but I didn't think I sucked so like horrendously badly. And anyway, I didn't get whatever part I was trying out for, but I was in the play. I was like a background kid, whatever we did. But then the next year, that teacher, I had him for what was, I don't remember, doesn't matter. But in front of the whole, like, I can't remember. I was probably being a clown of some sort. And I probably said something, I don't know. But he said to me in front of the whole class, he was like, well, he was like, yeah, Allegra, we know you can't sing, so. And he probably could have been just kidding and being sarcastic, but it totally crushed me. And I was like, yeah, you know, laughing it off and everything. But I was like, oh, I cannot sing. And that pathway, that neural pathway, that little river, there was a dam put up there. It was, I mean, even more than a dam, it was like a mountain ridge, you know. There was no getting beyond that for me for, years and years and years. And so that's just an example of how it can work in the opposite, right? So then here's another aspect of, you know, once those compliments are flowing, in order to get you going, in order to create the neural pathway for you to want to continue down and refine and expand upon that skill, then, you know, that's where art school comes into play. So originally, when I went to college, I majored in business, and I was just trying to major in something that was marketable. I always wanted to major in art, but there was a time period in my adult life where I felt like that wasn't practical. And, you know, I went to visit Rhode Island School of Design. I wanted to go there, and it was so expensive. So I joined the military to get the GI Bill. And then by the time I got out of the military, I was like, well, maybe I should major in business, and then I can just do the art on my own. Because it was always going to be art. But I was like, I don't know anything about business, so I need to learn about that. Well, go to major in business or whatever in the beginning, and you have electives that you can take. And so I took a fine painting course, and the instructor, the professor, he was very knowledgeable, and it was really good in the sense that we learned how to build our own canvases, our own stretchers, you know, the wooden frame, and then stretch the canvas across. That's a really good skill to know. So you're not having to buy canvases, and you can custom make your own great big canvases. It's a really good skill. But unfortunately at that time, and this is not an excuse, you know, it is what it is. I was going through a really hard time in my life, and I was very, very, very stressed out. And school was hard for me. I was working, doing school, and doing a bunch of different things, and just a basket case of anxiety. And I really should have gotten help with that at the time, but I was just trying to white knuckle it through in life. And I was trying to just get through the best I could. And so I half-assed that class. There were times where I had to leave early because I had to get to work, which, I mean, that was just irresponsible scheduling on my part. And the instructor knew, he saw that I was kind of not applying myself. So we had a critique day. That the project was to do a painting, and preferably on the type of canvases that we were building. I had built some canvases, but I needed to do something new, and I ran out of time, so I just bought some like Hobby Lobby pre-made canvases, and I tried to make up for it by doing more than one painting. And they were well done. They were well rendered paintings of like a big flower and then another one of a tree and a moon or something like that. And we go up for critique. I hang my paintings up. I'm standing there, and people. That's one of the best things about art school, or is learning how to critique properly, or learning how to critique meaningfully, and receiving critiques, and learning how to take criticism. So anyway, this was my first experience in that sense. So all the students were very complimentary. They were like, wow. And I saw the look in their eyes again. That's really good. Wow. And then when it came time for the professor to chime in, the first thing he said, and at that point I was sitting down, he let us sit down. He said, don't you think, you all seem to like hers, don't you think that just looks like something that you could buy off of a postcard from Walmart, or like a greeting card? Like there's no soul in that. It's vapid. There's no meaning. The person who made that, there was nothing coming from their heart or from their. They weren't thinking about how this could be something that's bigger than just something that you could buy for maybe $4 or $5. They're just that's all this person was doing. He didn't stop. He kept going and going and going with the insults, and I couldn't get any lower in my chair, and the other people around me, they were like trying to crawl under a rock on my behalf, and I started like. By the end of this, it was humiliating. I like started crying, and this other girl, she was crying for me, or I don't know if she was crying, but afterwards, after the class, a bunch of girls came up to me and they're like, "He's such an asshole. Oh my God, are you okay? Like that was the worst." And they're like, "I love what you did," and they were trying to make me feel better, and I'm like, "No, it's okay." It really. It was a very humbling experience, and ultimately it was very good for me. He was a jerk, but it got me to be motivated to stop doing the business school and to do art school. Now, an argument can be made that was a terrible decision on my part. I don't think it was ultimately. For many years I thought it was. I was like, "Oh my God, what did I do? I'm not making any money doing this." But I think I'm kind of finding my way now. But yeah, it was a really interesting learning experience. Let me put it to you that way, because I could have given up. I could have said, I suck. But I had enough in me to know that I didn't suck. So that criticism at that point in my ability and my skill level, it actually was helpful. I'm not sure I would ever recommend someone talk to a student that way necessarily, unless they know for sure. Like if you see the potential in someone, you're like, "You are good." Maybe that approach works. I haven't decided 100%. It did work for me in that one instance. In that one instance, it did work. you know, it's what happened. And I took that, maybe part of that was my personality, you know, not wanting to take that as a loss, as taking that, no, I need to make something good out of this, right? Instead of giving up. So, you know, it kind of, it takes a certain personality to be willing to go that route, you know, and to not give up. But anyway, that was my experience. And this is such an important thing, because when you're teaching somebody a new skill, whatever it is, they're new, anything that they need to learn, they need to hear the compliments. They need to hear what they're doing well. Like what you were saying, Shafe. You're doing what I told you. You see what you did? You put the ball or the glove down, whatever it is. You put the glove down the way I told you to, and you did that just right. Keep doing that. Don't even, you don't even need to mention where the person is messing up. It's not even necessary. They don't even need to hear one little bit about that in the beginning. And once they start, I mean, this is my opinion. I think a new student, student of any skill should hear what they're doing right. Obviously, if there's a safety issue, you have to put in the correct information. Like if using a circular saw or a table saw, it's like, oh yeah, you got to make sure you're doing that right. But when I'm talking about learning just a skill and where you want to have an ability to do something, I think the compliments need to be right out front and kind of the prominent technique used in teaching. It's just, I can't emphasize that enough. I don't know how else I could make that more clear. So anyway, I feel like I'm forgetting something. I always forget stuff. So this painting, well, that instructor I was talking about who insulted my work, I'm guessing he would probably look at this kind of similarly, Not that it matters. This is actually a piece that's part of a series. So yeah, this could be on a greeting card. You could see this and say, I mean, it's not done, of course, but this kind of work could be on a greeting card, and something that you could buy, probably not at Walmart. It would probably be a fine art greeting card, the way I see it, or a print. These would make beautiful prints. And owls reach people, their eyes, when you see an owl in real life, there's a connection that people do have. And so that's one of the reasons I do work on owls, is because people connect with them. When they see them, it's a money maker. It just is. And I enjoy them. I love owls. I love them. But this piece will be part of a larger series that I'm doing. So standing alone, it may not have a whole lot of meaning, but in the big picture, it'll be part of a series of our lives here and everything. So, but also, just real quick, you can see once this is done, not to toot my own horn or pat myself on the back too much, but once this is done, you can really see how the water flowed, thinking about those tributaries. You can see how the water, here, I'll do something, I don't know if you can see it too well, but we'll just drip, oops, well, I didn't want that. That's okay. You can correct mistakes with watercolor pretty easily. But let's just say, you can just see how the artist's hand worked. And I'm probably covering that up. But it's fun to see the little individual marks that are made. And if you have an eye for that, if that kind of thing is interesting, it can take you on a little adventure. So here, let me try this one. This is a little river of bark that I'm making. Hopefully you can see this. I'll let it flow down here. Here, I'll get the camera down. Here we go. That's fun. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that really quick. And then you have just a lot of those going on. It's hard to hold the camera at the same time. Okay, I'll just end it here. Wanting to, again, emphasize the importance of the complement in teaching something new and getting those neural pathways created, those little rivers and tributaries. And the complements are the ones that break the earth in there. If you are interested in seeing more of my work, please visit my website, Allegra Rose Brown. I'll put the link below, and my Instagram. Okay, thank you. I better go. We'll get going here in just a sec. Okay, so Allegra Rose Brown, and then yeah, I'll just put the links below. So you all have a good day. Enjoy it. Okay, we'll get that off. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye bye.